shoot what you want to be hired for. You know, if you're into weddings, shoot couples, shoot fashion, maybe shoot a couple weddings for free and
some
bridals, yeah. And then people will be like, oh, you do this stuff, I will hire you.
Exactly.
But if you're a wedding photographer wanting to shoot like automobiles or watches or hiking lifestyle, you're not going to get hired for it because they only see that you can shoot weddings.
Welcome to the Golden Hour Podcast. I'm Dave Mays, and we're here in the Polar Pro studio. Today we spoke with Sam Ciurdar, who's a photographer, filmmaker, who's built a business around his personal brand. Along with his wife Amanda, they have produced content for the likes of Starbucks, American Express, and Nike. In 2015, Sam and his wife Amanda also created the company Adventure That Is Life that sells adventure-themed gear. I think if you're an entrepreneur, photographer, filmmaker, you have a lot to take away from this interview. Now, one funny little tidbit is that Sam Ciurdar and Sydney DeYoungson, who was a previous guest on the show, grew up together. They were buddies when they were in college, and they made films together. Really funny coincidence that we actually interviewed both of them. So I actually made a little mistake when I first started my interview with Sam. You'll see what I mean. Without further ado, enjoy my conversation with Sam. All right, so we're here with Sydney DeYoungson.
Oh my God. That needs to go up, and Sydney needs to hear about this because when we were in high school, we always got confused for one another.
That all doesn't make any sense,
time. We were inseparable, basically, and people would be like, "Oh, hey, there's Sam and Sid." They didn't know which one was which. So when we were by ourselves, people would be like, "Oh man, I have to guess." Hey, Sid. I'm like, "Nope, Sam. Nice try." Went on for years, and so since he moved and came back,
yeah.
It's hardly ever happened because we're not together as much.
Yeah.
And literally in LA last week, I went to a Starbucks, ordered a drink, and they asked what my name was. I said Sam, and I don't know why they literally wrote Sid on the cup.
Gosh. It was a sign.
So I sent them the picture. I'm like, dude, it's still happening. But that's hilarious.
With this game called One Word Rapid Fire, we like to just start off with the game because it kind of, just loosens the bones, a little icebreaker,
Do it.
Basically, I'll just ask you a couple of, let's just say a couple words, and you just pick one. So like this or this, and then you pick whichever one
Done.
is your favorite. So we're going to put 30 seconds on the clock. Rockwell's
That's a lot of pressure.
The timer. Are you ready?
Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, go.
All right. Which do you prefer, West Coast or East Coast?
West.
Photo or video?
Both. Photo. No, video.
Planned shoots or like fly by the seat of your pants?
Planned.
Handheld or gimbal work if you're doing video stuff?
Gimbal. Canon,
Nikon, or Sony?
Sony.
Spaghetti with meat sauce or Alfredo?
Spaghetti with meat sauce.
iOS or Android?
And iOS.
Mac or PC?
Mac.
Rock or pop?
Rock, pop.
Iceland or Disneyland?
Oh man.
Time.
No, you cannot end on that one. That's both. Disney Iceland.
Disney Iceland.
They need to make a park out there.
That would be so cool if Disneyland was in Iceland.
Yeah, dude.
Man,
Imagine
so cool.
Splash Mountain just going down Skogafoss.
Oh my God. I don't know the places there. I looked at your Instagram account and I've seen that you've been there a couple times.
I've been there, twice.
So yeah, that's why I put that last one.
Dude,
in.
that was a tough one. That was tough.
So let's start at the beginning. You were born.
I was. This is true. I have proof.
But where are you from originally? Where were you actually born?
I was born in Anaheim, California.
And you mentioned something to me. You're a first generation American.
I am. Yeah, my parents were both born in Romania.
Wow.
And they fled. Their story's phenomenal, by the way. I'm hoping to hopefully one day make it into a feature.
Wow. Tell me.
But they both fled Romania under communism.
Wow.
And they were both put in jail and put in refugee camps and risked their lives to basically start over. Lived in Italy for a while, applied for citizenship, got denied, I believe, in Canada, denied in Australia, and then were approved in the States.
Incredible.
So me even being here is just a testament to their adventurous spirit and yeah, it's just amazing.
What was it like growing up with your parents being kind of like new to this, just like you, I guess, in a way?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't learn English till I was 5.
Wow.
And when I started kindergarten and first grade, I was in ESL. Is that what it's called? English as a second language? Yeah, so I had to learn that way.
Wow.
I was never bullied really much, except in kindergarten. I remember there was people just kind of making fun of me because I didn't know English.
Those are some rough kids.
But I didn't know any different. I'm like, oh, was this guy being mean to me? I can't understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
But I remember one guy stood up for me, and we were kind of friends throughout elementary school. No, I didn't meet Sid till much later.
And then what college did you go to?
I did not go to college.
Oh, I thought you went to college with Sid.
Nope, I snuck into a couple of his classes. That's for sure. I've been on the Chapman University campus more than I've been on any other campus.
Wow.
Just because, my parents being first generation born, they basically told me that they can't afford to pay for my schooling.
Sure.
So I had to either pay for it myself or try to figure out my own path. So I was like, I don't really want to. I honestly didn't like school.
Yeah.
Some people love school. They love to learn. I like to learn, but things I'm passionate about. So I decided I'm just going to figure this out on my own in a different way. Used Sid a little bit to sneak in a couple of his classes and help on a couple of projects. And then, that's pretty much my college experience.
And growing up, were you always kind of drawn to photography, filmmaking, art in general? Were you kind of an artist growing up?
I think I was without knowing. I remember being a kid, like a 5-year-old playing with action figures, but I wouldn't put the two toys together and just kind of like clunk them together. And when they would fight, I would literally get down eye level to them and like punch one in the face and turn their head and maybe do like a little slow motion thing. It's awesome. Like, it's funny because as a kid, I didn't think anything of it then.
Yeah.
But now I think about it, I'm like, okay, like my eyes were the camera, and
You're playing out a scene.
I was playing out a scene, almost like a visual storyboard kind of.
That's amazing.
And then I would steal my dad's like camera back in the day and just go film random stuff. It ended up turning out to be more story based, and then it just escalated to what it is today. But I feel like ever since I had any memory, I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker at some point. Photography, I never knew I would have a career in.
Yeah. Well, let's get into that, because you're kind of like this entrepreneur who has you have a really cool clothing line company. You have a production company, Instagram. You say you want to do music videos and direct. Can you just give me, in a nutshell, what it is that you do?
Yeah. I'm I guess a filmmaker and photographer. Just freelance, go wherever I'm needed. Basically, the clothing company, Adventure That Is Life, is kind of a thing I started on the side. I told my wife I kind of want to create a feature account on Instagram, and she told me, go ahead, you're on your own, because I don't really want to help you with that. So I'm like, all right, let's just see what happens. And somehow I grew it organically to, I think, about 30,000 followers at that point. And I just thought to myself, what can I do with this community? And honestly, I'm not passionate about clothing. I mean, I am passionate about clothing. I like wearing clothing and I like good clothing, but I'm not an apparel guy. I don't want to have a company. So I just thought to myself, what can I do, or what can I sell to give back? Because I didn't really care about starting a clothing company. So we decided apparel was just easy. Throw a branding on a shirt and then donate a percentage of that to charity.
Nice.
Did that for maybe about 2 years. The Instagram kept growing and we did pretty decent, but because I'm not passionate about it and I was doing it all on my own, and then after the birth of our first daughter, well, I only have one daughter, our first child, it just a whole year of me not pushing it at all. So it's kind of declined big time, which I'm okay with, because that was 2 years that we were able to donate a decent amount. And
nice.
Now it's kind of I think it's just kind of phasing out, and it's basically just an Instagram community at this point.
Okay. Because I saw it on your site, and I just wanted to bring that up. But yeah,
I have it on my site just in case someone wants to go. I have it designed and set up basically that we just fulfill per order, so I don't have any inventory. So if someone buys a sweater, cool. Yeah, it gets fulfilled. But
nice.
We're not pushing it. I'm more passionate about. My biggest passion is filmmaking. That's what I've always aspired to do, is to direct TV and film. Kind of stumbled into photography because I owned a Canon 7D at the time, and thought to myself, hey, I can shoot photos with this too. And always thought it'd be really fun to be able to shoot product photography, but never knew how to do it. And then somehow I got into it, and that's basically my bread and butter at the moment, as I'm kind of figuring out my film journey.
When I originally started just doing research on you for this interview, obviously the biggest thing that stands out is your Instagram account and the following that you have and the images that you've taken over the years. And It's just phenomenal. And there's a lot of people that are listening to this that are aspiring to maybe do what you're doing on Instagram. And from what, now that I've actually talked to you, it seems like your passions are actually more towards filmmaking and producing and that side. But you've stumbled into this like very healthy, growing Instagram account.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that? Like what happened?
I guess I'm inspired by telling stories through visuals. And
nice.
A lot
I like that.
A lot of the Instagram photos I take are spontaneous. I'm just out and about. I'm inspired by nature. I love being outside, so that's what I naturally take pictures of. Never been passionate about weddings or anything like that, so that's why I'm not a wedding photographer.
Oh my gosh.
It's just a whole new I
have a lot of love for those people because it's so amazing. I've done a lot of weddings.
So
I'm
have
sure
I.
You have to.
So have I.
So
but
it pays the bills.
And honestly, when I first started, told myself I want to try to be a freelance photographer, I naturally thought it meant being a wedding photographer.
Yeah.
So I tried really hard to be in it, and it never worked out. But I think I've always known since I was a kid that I wanted to do something in the film aspect. It wasn't until I think I got my hands on a Canon 7D that had video capabilities that I decided, oh, hey, this thing can actually do pictures as well.
Yeah.
That I got in a little bit into photography as well. I mean, to this day, my goals and aspirations are to hopefully direct TV and film. And I don't know, photography was just kind of one of those things where it kind of became a hobby, and thought to myself, it'd be cool to, shoot product and things like that. Because I thought for a long time that being a working photographer meant shooting weddings.
Yeah.
And that's not for me. I'm not passionate about it.
Me neither.
It's just one of those things where you shoot like all weekend, then you have to edit during the week.
Yeah.
It's just not. And it's just one of those things, when you're not passionate about shooting something, your work just isn't very good.
And I have a lot of respect for those people, and you
100%.
I think the ones that are good at it have passion for it.
100%.
Right?
And you can tell in their work.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it just wasn't it. So wasn't any surprise that it didn't take off for me.
Yeah.
And then
when did you start doing product stuff and commercial work?
So it was kind of funny. I shot a lot on spec, and a lot of people ask me, how do you get into this?
Yeah.
And I always tell them, shoot what you want to be hired for. If you're into weddings, shoot couples, shoot fashion, maybe shoot a couple weddings for free, and
some bridals.
Yeah. And then people will be like, oh, you do this stuff, I will hire you.
Exactly.
But if you're a wedding photographer wanting to shoot like automobiles or watches or hiking lifestyle, you're not going to get hired for it because they only see that you can shoot weddings.
Yep.
So I shot a couple stuff on spec. I don't know if you've ever heard of Tim Hortons Coffee.
I have.
From Canada up there. They sent me an email once and said, hey, we like your Instagram. Can we pay you for X amount of photos for our social media? And
Nice.
I thought to myself, this is a thing. At this point, like,
what year was this? Do you remember? 2012? 11?
No,
It was
it's-
after you got married.
it was after I got married. I think it might have been 2014,
Okay, so about 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Yeah. And I don't think social influencing or
It's kind of at
things
the
like
beginning
that
of
was
it.
the beginning of it, or hiring content creators. Yeah, I don't consider myself a social influencer at all. I really don't even like the word influencer.
Yeah.
Because that's not who I am. I built my audience based off of my work, not my selling of things.
Yeah.
So they reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to, we need this many photos. Can you shoot some? And I'm like, yeah, did that. And I was like, wow, that's my first paid brand.
Nice.
That was cool. So then I just kept doing it, reached out to a couple of smaller brands, and it kind of snowballed.
Were you shooting like product shots that maybe a company would hire you for on your own, like for free? So like you would take your watch and set it up and like post that on Instagram,
It was just,
or what?
I think back
Just the style.
when Instagram was a little earlier, it wasn't as polished or aesthetically pleasing. You kind of shoot your everyday stuff too.
Yeah, mostly on your phone.
Mostly on your phone, yeah. And I think one of the ones
Put that Nashville filter on it.
yeah, 100% Nashville. That's where you're from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Did you create that?
I did.
Yeah, nice.
All of us together.
Yeah. One collective
Yeah.
filter for everybody. And so after, lost my train of thought for a second.
Sorry. So like you were saying that at the time things weren't that polished.
Yeah, right. So things weren't as polished. And so it's funny because the thing that they saw on my feed was literally me editing in front of my computer, and I just had my hand out in front of me with a mug, and I just took a picture of it, and that's all it was. And I just got back from Canada, and I think my comment was like, oh man, I wish I had more Tim Hortons.
Oh, nice.
Like now you read that, people are like, oh, I wonder how much you got paid to say that.
Yeah.
Back then you're just like, literally, I wish I had more Tim Hortons. And they must have seen it. So it's kind of funny because hashtags go a long way because people don't think so.
Yeah.
But I've been hired by
From hashtags.
From hashtags, because I whenever a client reaches out to me, I'll be like, oh, how did you find me? And they'd be like, oh, we were stalking this one hashtag and your photo stood out.
Wow.
So like that's how Apple found me not too long ago.
Wow.
They said they were going through the shot on iPhone hashtag, and I think I've used that hashtag 4 times.
Wow.
So
I can't imagine how many pictures I had to go through to.
Oh my
even
gosh,
find
so
those
many.
for. It's incredible.
So it's humbling to know that your work stands out.
Yeah.
But so
Okay, so by the way, how did you meet your wife? I know this is like we're bouncing all over the place,
Oh,
but
let's
I think
do it.
that's interesting. So
Yeah.
tell me about your wife.
So my wife and I met. I used to work at a church, and I did all their video production. And
What church was it?
It's called Crossroads Christian Church in Corona.
Okay.
And actually, Sid and I used to both work there. And doing those stupid little short films, we took that and did it for the church.
Nice.
And it was just easier to put ourselves into them, especially if it was comedy, because we would both write, direct, produce, and act in all of them. And the church was quite large. I think the auditorium sits like 3,000 or something like that.
Wow.
And I think basically what happened, my wife saw me in one of those, and she's like, "Oh, I think he's cute." I don't know. That's what she says.
Yeah.
And then I think Facebook kind of played a role into it, where I think she wrote on my wall and just said, "Hey, I saw your latest video, hilarious." I'm like, "Oh, she's cute." And
Wow, that's amazing.
the short story of it is that's how we met, and then we were going to the same church, just talked, and
then next thing you know, you're married.
Now we're married, and we have one kid and a second on the way, and we have a house. Man, life.
How do you like being a dad?
Dude, it's the best thing. You know.
I know, yeah.
And you have a son?
Yeah, his name's Ryan.
You
He's
got
1-year-old.
We got to talk about that a little bit because I have a boy
absolutely.
coming.
And we
So,
both wear our wedding rings as a piece of rubber.
Yes.
Why is it? I'll tell you why I don't like rings. They hurt my finger, and I've gotten fatter over the years.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So like,
Dad bod.
yeah, dad bod.
It's a thing.
You got to embrace it.
It's a thing.
So is that why you have one?
It's lightweight, and I like to play with it.
Yeah, me
That's all
too.
it really is.
I'll just like flick it and twist
so much
it.
easier to play with the rubber ring than it is with
yeah.
the tungsten one.
We should have a official Polar Pro rubber ring.
100%.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well,
I'll wear it.
I'll talk to the engineers about it. Yeah. So Instagram for you was never like a specific, I'm going to be an Instagram influencer kind of thing.
No,
It just
definitely
kind of
not.
occurred.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you freaking have like 170,000 or something.
I wish.
Only 158,000.
But here's the thing is,
Dude, that's amazing,
I've
though.
been fortunate, and a lot of people don't know nowadays. What was the word that they used? Suggested user.
Yeah.
Do you know what a suggested user
I
is?
do. I have a friend who is one, and it made him blow up.
Yeah, so it's like back in the day they did that, and it was quite the honor to be noticed, to be considered a suggested user. So I was on there. So that's
Nice.
kind of what helped spark it. But now with their new engagement, it kind of hurts us more than it does. So if people
Really?
have been a suggested user, someone downloads the app, they suggest 12 people, and you follow all those people. But these people who download the app probably download it once, shared one image, and then maybe never open the app again.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not necessarily ghost followers. They're real people, but they just don't ever use the app.
Yeah.
So you get less engagement based off
Okay.
of that. So that's how you can somewhat tell when someone's a suggested user.
Yeah.
So my engagement isn't as good as some of the other people who maybe have like 10,000 followers and they get
I think
the same amount. You know what I mean?
You're being very humble. For
I
sure.
don't know.
But that's an interesting factoid for sure.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I got my start. But I think anybody who goes with that mindset, I want to be an influencer, is kind of going into it for the wrong reasons. I feel like it's the same when anybody wants to go into the film industry because they want to be famous.
Yep.
It's you might not make it. If you're not passionate about doing whatever you want to be doing, I don't think you're going to find a lot of success.
Absolutely.
That's why for me, like, I want to be a filmmaker. Doing this on the side right now, I'm blessed to be able to do it. I don't know how long I'll be able to do it. We were talking earlier, I don't know how long I'm going to be relevant. So I'm trying to future-proof myself, and I'm passionate about film. I know it's not easy, but I've been told by so many people over the years, what's your plan B? If that doesn't work, what's your plan B? I don't have a plan B.
Never.
If you have a plan A and that's your only thing, you can't failure is not an option.
Exactly.
So
I say that all the time.
Yeah. So if I fail, I just failed in that strategy. I just have to manipulate that strategy a little bit better to make my goals and dreams a reality, you know?
Exactly. So I've taken some images from your Instagram account.
Awesome.
I want to get a backstory on these. There's some that are just gorgeous photos, but some that may have a little story behind it. You're actually kind of looking here at one here.
I'm kind of picking up. Oh, that's a random photo.
This is a random photo because this is your father.
That is my dad.
And I just want to get a little backstory on your dad. Tell me about your dad.
Well, I think we talked about it earlier. My dad fled communist Romania. Awesome. This picture right here, actually, celebrating Father's Day. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I had to get my own context from it.
So this is June 22nd, 2014.
Yep.
It's an image of your dad. He's wearing a Beatles shirt.
His favorite band, not brand. His favorite band.
Band. Maybe he wears a lot of Beatles shirts.
Yeah.
My dad's a huge Beatles fan as well. So, in fact, if you just name any song, he can tell you which album it was, what year it came out, and which track, and which side of the album it was on.
Wow. So that's hardcore.
Yeah. My dad's a musician, so.
There you go.
But, yeah, tell me more about your father. What's his name?
His name's Cornell.
And how old is he at this point, like roughly?
At this point,
60s,
63.
70s? Yeah. And like you said, he's an immigrant?
Yep. And wouldn't be fortunate enough to be doing what I'm doing now if he didn't make the journey here.
Wow. You had a good relationship with your dad?
Yeah, I love my dad. And yeah, this day, he just likes walking around. And so we decided to take him to Knott's Berry Farm, and I just saw this wall. And I never take photos of my dad, really, because we're always in the house.
Yeah.
We don't do a whole lot together out and about,
yeah.
but we have good conversations and things like that. Yeah. So this photo was just simply like, oh, I like the shadows on the wall.
I love it.
It's Father's Day. Let me just do a little post for my dad. And
nice.
That's all it was. Something simple.
So this image here is unreal. I just love the composition, the color. Basically, it's a top-down shot of what looks like a girl in a
it's my
pool, girl/wife.
Yeah.
If you look at the description, it says from that time we went to the Blue Lagoon in Iceland. It was taken in 2016. I've also seen this on your website, and I think you mentioned this is one of your favorite images you've ever taken.
Yeah.
Can you describe this image? Tell me about the backstory, and also why you find it to be one of your favorites.
I think it's more of the story behind it being my favorite. I enjoy the composition. It's just unique to me.
The color contrast is perfect with the skin tone and the blue.
Yeah, the blue. I like that it just kind of almost like takes over the person. But I like it because I did have my high-end camera with me, but at the Blue Lagoon, we left it in the locker, and then we decided let's just take one iPhone with us that was in an otter box, just in case we drop it in the water. And it was one of those moments where you're just like, oh, I like this moment. What tool do I have on my body to capture this moment? Like, I'm not going to go back to the locker, go grab my camera, come back out, and like really spend that much time on it.
Get a tripod. And
Let's get proper lighting. Let's wait till golden hour, whatever it is. And I just snapped it in the moment. And
so this was taken on an iPhone.
Yeah, I was just taken on an iPhone.
iPhone 6, actually. Yeah.
iPhone 6, yeah. And that's pretty much it. It's just I like that it was created with something that you can have in your pocket.
And was this image one of the images that Apple saw?
Maybe. I mean, I used the hashtag right there, shot on iPhone. So maybe this is one of the ones that stood out. I'm not sure.
I mean, what's amazing about this is, like you said, you took it in the moment. It's the camera that you had with you was your iPhone, and this is good enough to literally print and put on your wall. I mean, I think it's
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And
it's nice to hear from somebody else, because when you take it, you don't think anything else of it. You're like, oh, I like this. I'm gonna take it. Yeah. And cool. Yeah, I'm stoked on it.
Yeah.
But you don't really hear other people's feedback. And I'm sure, like, you're saying one thing.
Of comments there.
Yeah, you're saying one thing, but someone else could be like, "Oh, I hate this thing."
Yeah.
And you're like, "I don't want to hear that."
So was she actually bathing?
Yeah, we were just.
Is this the warm water?
Yeah,
thing?
It's just there's like hundreds of other people around us right here.
Wow.
So it was just swimming to the area where there's the least amount of people and just trying to capture this moment really quick.
I love the swirls in the water and stuff. It's crazy.
Appreciate that.
All right, so this next image is a picture of, it looks like a man jumping across a mountain. Okay, Batman.
Just kidding.
I pulled this image mostly because I was curious about the story behind this, like how you actually captured it. It looks really dangerous.
Yeah, it probably looks more dangerous than what it really is. It's all about, angles and perspectives.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty high up, but between those two rocks that he's jumping, it's not that bad. But this was just... back back in the day when Instameets were pretty big on Instagram. I don't know if they're still a thing, but back a few years ago they were big. People like even Instagram would say, "Hey, here's the next Instameet day. Everybody rally around it." And so this was one of them. And then he's like, "Hey, I'm going to jump across. Anybody want to take a picture?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm right here. Do it."
Yeah.
And so it was just one of those ones where someone decided to do it, and I just captured it.
So Instameet with a purpose, was that actually like? Tell me about that. Like, what do you mean? You would actually do charity work?
Yeah. So whenever we wanted to do an Instameet, we would then just create a purpose. So we did one where we talked to our local city and asked, hey, it's summertime. What's the need? And they said during the summer, homeless people need underwear and socks. That's the biggest need because it's hot, they sweat, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So anybody who came to the Instameet, we just asked them, bring these things, and we're going to donate them. We did that for one. We did a toy drive for another one for Christmas. We did canned foods for another time for around Thanksgiving a couple years ago. And then we did one where it was blankets also.
I have a great idea. Pokemon Go with a purpose.
There you go. Pokemon Go. Yeah, go around and find Pokemon and put a canned food.
That's right.
Switch them out.
That's awesome, man. I love that idea.
So, yeah.
So this next image here is a hot air balloon, golden hour time.
That was actually sunrise.
Okay.
I mean, it's still golden hour.
Golden hour.
Yeah, but yeah, because it kind of looks like sunset.
It does. It could be either one. Sunrise, sunset.
Yeah.
Anyways, anybody that
That's such a good
knows
song.
Broadway. Okay, so it says Dubai, one of 3. So I'm assuming this was taken in Dubai.
Yes, this
Tell
was
me
in
about
Dubai.
the story behind this image and what you were doing in Dubai.
I was actually hired by Hyatt. Oh man, this trip was insane. I was hired by Hyatt, and they were doing this campaign where they called me and they were like, "Hey, we're doing this project. Do you want to be involved?" And it was video. I'm like, "Okay, let me think of what team I want to put together to create this video." And they're like, "Oh, actually, we don't want you to create the video. We want you to be the subject of the video." I'm like, "Oh, that's really weird. I'm not usually in front of the camera."
Yeah.
But sounds fun, so let's do it.
As a photographer?
Yeah, so they're basically following this campaign that they were doing. They were following an American photographer,
Okay.
Traveling around the world using Hyatt as his home away from home, basically.
Yeah.
And my wife was, I think, 38 weeks pregnant during that time when this came up. And I told her, I'm like,
With
okay,
your first, right?
with our first. So I told her, it's up to you if you want me to take this. This is what's happening. This is how much they're paying. You tell me yes or no.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, go do it. And I'm like, all right, you can't turn this back on me now.
Yeah.
You're the one who gave me permission. And so I flew from LA to London, London to Paris, Paris to Shanghai, Shanghai to Tokyo, Tokyo to Dubai, Dubai home in 3 weeks.
Wow.
So I was jet lagged from Lord knows from where.
Yeah.
I was just constantly jet lagged.
So
And this was just one of the moments from Dubai. We took a hot air balloon right at sunrise. There was a falcon in there. For some reason, they decided to up it by just throwing a falcon in there, and it flew between the 2 hot air balloons. We were in one, and that was the other one.
Wow.
And it was just one of those moments where I was just standing there, and the hot air balloon was just about to go towards the sun, and pulled out my camera and just captured it. So it was one of those, just my eye saw something that it wanted to capture, so I captured it.
What did you think about that whole experience of being on camera and being the subject of the video?
Doing it back in the day, I did all those comedic short films, so it wasn't too foreign, but it was fun. It was I mean, easier than being the film crew who have to like set up everything and get the locations. I just stood there and they're like, okay, walk from here to here.
Yeah.
Cool. Easy walk.
Yeah.
So it was actually easier work.
Make sure hot coffee's ready. And donuts. And
only blue M&Ms.
Yeah, exactly.
But so I enjoy being behind the camera more.
That was taken in 2017, so it wasn't too long ago.
That was.
But I mean, it's almost actually 2 years ago. So.
Yeah, I took it before.
Okay.
That I think it was like in November, and I posted it.
Okay.
Like a
so
couple months
November
later.
2000. So it was exactly
about 2 years ago.
ago. Yeah. All right. So this is an image of you looking up. You got the red jacket on. The snow's coming down. I'm not too interested in the image itself. This is actually a question.
Do it.
Red jacket. Tell me about it. You wear it a lot. Where did you get it?
I don't wear it that often, do I? Those are 2 different jackets.
Oh. Well, so I don't know. I just assumed maybe there was some story with the red jacket.
Nope. I just got that jacket, like, I think when I took this, I got it, like, that week.
Nice.
And I'm just like, I want to go out. I just wanted, like, a pop of color. My wife always gets mad at me when I wear a black jacket all the time.
That makes sense.
So whenever she buys me something, like a backpack or a jacket, she always tries to get color because she's like, you're going to want to take pictures.
Yeah.
And you might as well pop.
That might be why
So-
I was drawn to finding this image and asking you, because I noticed that little note there that you're wearing a lot of color.
Yeah, my wife.
Whether it's your hat or
That's mainly my wife. Because
Clever.
I mean, it makes sense, right? If
she's like an art director.
Yeah, she's like, if you're in a forest and if you have all green on, you're just gonna blend in.
Yeah.
So at that point, she's like, why don't you wear like orange?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's smart.
Wow, she's brilliant.
Thanks, babe.
Does she have involvement a lot with your shoots?
She used to be very hands-on. Before our daughter was born, we would tag team almost every project together.
What's her name?
Amanda.
Amanda.
Yeah. So we would just, oh, hey, babe, I have this client.
Yeah.
They need this many photos. She's like, all right, let's go. She would shoot me or I would shoot her. And it worked out really well. So ever since having a kid, she's focused more on like the mom stuff and even mom photography. She'll do maybe some kid clothing
great.
and stuff. So she's kind of done her own thing.
Does she stay home and watch the kid?
Yeah. I mean, we tag team a lot. I work from home. So
yeah, same.
It's just
My wife-
who's less busy at the moment.
My wife quit her job right before the baby was born, and that was like one of the best decisions she's ever made.
100%.
I think there's a lot of
More so for
people-
the baby than your wife.
I know, yeah. It's really a selfless act, I think, for a mother to be a mother and not...
It's one of the hardest jobs you can do.
And
I couldn't be a full-time dad. Like I've had to do it for 3 months straight because my wife was really sick with the pregnancy. And I'm like, man, how do people work and do this at the same time?
It's really amazing that, I can't imagine. Like single mothers, like I cannot
so
imagine.
much respect.
So true. Well, while we're on the topic of family, this is an image of your family. Again, this is mostly about the content of the photo.
Yeah.
This is your beautiful wife, your daughter, and you do have one on the way. This image was taken in July, so I don't know if she was pregnant
I think
yet.
she was very early pregnant. Actually, July was when we found out. July 6th, that's my birthday. That's the day we found out.
Wow,
That's
so this
actually-
image was taken, because this image, the tag says this is 33. So
Yep, just
it's your
turned
birthday.
33. Yep,
July
and
6th.
that morning she told me she was pregnant. So,
Oh wow!
but
what
I
a
mean,
gift.
this photo was probably taken a few weeks
Previously,
before
sure,
that.
sure.
Yeah, this was. I don't even know why we took this. Honestly, we just had a friend go
Just
out.
a little shoot with your family.
Yeah, I think we just had our friend Candace Marino, who's phenomenal, great family friend. We actually went to Iceland with her and her husband a couple
nice.
years before that, and she's a phenomenal photographer also. And so my wife was just like, we need family pictures. Let's go out and shoot. I think that's what the whole point of this one was.
I think it's really valuable. Like it's really funny how and I'm saying we because our listeners probably can relate too. Like we take all these pictures all the time, and we're like professionals, right? We don't take anything of like especially of myself.
Yeah.
I might take a lot of pictures of my son or my wife, but it's great to have somebody else take some pictures of.
Oh yeah, it's
you,
great.
all three together.
Yeah, it's so rare to even have a picture of just me and my wife.
So this is an image of you hanging out of a what do you call these things?
Airstream.
Yeah, Airstream. Is this yours?
No, I wish.
Okay. So can you tell me the story behind this image?
Yeah, I was actually this trip. I was actually hired by two brands, Nikon and White Claw, and they wanted content.
What's White Claw?
White Claw. I'm actually holding it in my hand. It's like a alcohol seltzer.
Oh,
Like
cool.
Yeah. Cool. And so, and I believe this was in July also, and July is just hot here in Southern California. So,
so you decided to wear a jacket.
Because it's my birthday month, I actually try to go to San Francisco around that time.
Okay.
I've done that the past 2 years.
Nice.
I don't know if it's actually an official tradition with my best friend and I, but maybe it will be. And so we decided to go to San Francisco, and so this was taken just outside the city in an Airstream we were staying as our Airbnb,
Oh, that's awesome.
which coincidentally had the fastest Wi-Fi I've ever experienced in
Really?
any Airbnb I've ever stayed in.
Because it's San Fran, right?
I don't even know. It was like 300 down or something like that. It was just
Unreal.
in an Airstream. So we were just streaming movies.
I wish I had that.
Yeah, me too. Maybe get an Airstream. And so this
That's
was
the trick.
so this was actually a shot for White Claw where just kind of enjoying a beverage before the night's done.
Nice.
So it's just one of those shots where we got in and I'm like, oh, I visualize this image. So I got the framing all set. Then I asked my friend to just hit the shutter.
Boom. Yeah,
Yep.
that's great. Lake Michigan frozen. This next image is that you?
Nope, that's my buddy Will.
I was gonna say, I was like, you must have shaved or something.
Nope.
So it's a different man. His name is Will.
Yep.
He's hanging off the side of the street. Looks like he's about to step onto the lake. What was this trip about? What were you guys doing out there?
We were actually shooting for House of Blues
Oh,
in
nice.
Chicago. They're doing something with a new show, so they wanted me to capture the event. So I hired Will to come out to be my second shooter, and we were just walking around one evening after the shoot, just exploring the city. And
Turns out the lake was frozen.
I was like, oh man, this lake's frozen. And my friend Will was like, hey, I'm gonna go hang off this thing. I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna go take a picture of you.
Did he actually walk out on the ice?
Yeah, we both walked out. I mean, I think where this photo was taken, it's a little bit more thin, so he just kind of stepped on it just to see if it was strong enough, and I think it was, but we didn't risk it. But we actually went and stood on it a little bit closer.
That's
where it was
fun.
Yeah, it was really cool. I've been to Chicago twice and never seen it.
Have you ever been to Alaska?
I have.
I went to Alaska this year back in February for the first time.
Yeah.
And we were driving on ice roads. Like, it was literally just the river.
Wow.
And kind of creeped me out a little bit, but like, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I haven't been to Alaska driving on ice roads, but Alaska is gorgeous.
We were in a place where you could actually see Russia. So
wow.
We were at the very top of Alaska.
Wow, it's phenomenal.
Insane. Yeah, it was fun. All right, so next image here is a picture of a man with an accordion. Looks like a classic kind of like Paris kind of shot.
Yeah.
So tell me about this. Yeah, obviously you were in Paris.
Yeah, this was during that Hyatt gig. And
cool.
And we're just walking around, and a lot of my photos are just what my eye sees, finds fascinating, so I want to capture that moment. Not a lot of planning. The only time there's a lot of planning that goes into my shots is when it's a product, like heavy commercial shot that the brand wants something specific. So this was just walking around, and I forgot where we were exactly, but this man was just playing the accordion, and it just echoed through the alleys, and you literally close your eyes and you think, oh, I'm in Paris. And the fact that you'd open them, you're like, I'm actually in Paris. This is crazy.
It's amazing.
And so this guy was just taking a picture, and I don't think he liked that I took his picture, because right here you can see he's not looking at me.
Yeah.
So I snapped it, and then kind of...
Like he has a lazy eye.
Yeah, I think he was just looking past me. And then I think after I took it, I was literally enjoying the music so much, I was just staring at him, and I think he wanted me to tip him. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't have any money. Like, this is not one of those trips where because the production paid for everything, so
yeah.
I'm like, I literally don't even have my wallet.
Yeah.
So
Oops.
If you're going to get mad, I'm just going to walk away and listen to you in the distance. But I grabbed that really fast.
I love it. Man, what a great trip. Again, I'm assuming this is from the same
you're
thing
just killing
again.
it with that Hyatt gig.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't mean to. It's just, this is kind of unreal, some of these images here. Like, this is a picture of you in a really, really cool car.
Yeah, it's like a classic Land Rover.
So, do you know what year that was?
Not sure, but they still use them.
Wow.
I think they just refurbished the engine, and that's what they use to take tours through the desert.
So this Land Rover, if you're an audio listener, you really need to look at your phone real quick and see this image. It's really amazing. That car, I'm kind of jealous. I want one.
Yeah, I want one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you do? You just drove around the desert?
Yeah, we drove around the desert. This particular spot was a lot more for the video heavy thing. We were in two different cars, and they tracked us as we were driving through the desert and just got a bunch of different angles. And this was just a little bit of downtime. So I was like, oh, I like the shot. And it's always challenging when you're by yourself, because if I was with my wife, I'd be like, hey babe, you go stand there and I'll take a picture of you.
Yeah.
But then you feel awkward asking somebody else to stand there if you don't really know them, and they might not necessarily have the look you're going for.
Yeah.
And since it's my feed, I naturally have the look I'm going for, because it's me. And so I just stood there, and I asked one of the producers, who was just kind of standing there, I'm like, hey, can you just grab this picture of me?
Nice.
And told him just where to stand.
And you put your hand on your sunglasses, stood there for 3 seconds, and then took.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think I was actually fixing my glasses.
Oh, there you go.
It was
real.
I was like, just snap a couple. So I stood there, and then I was just like, oh man, my glasses. Like,
and then that's the one you got.
Yeah, and that's the one I like.
Yeah.
I'm always drawn to the natural.
Yeah.
Not overly staged. If you just like a quick scroll through my feed, a lot of it is really just moments that I, just kind of live in that moment and just capturing what my eye sees in that moment. I know I just said moment a bunch of times, but I think that's what photography is to me, is just being in the moment.
Yeah, I think we actually just did an interview with Chris Poops, as his Instagram.
Yeah, I know him.
And his whole kind of method of shooting was that as well. And I'm not really a photographer, I'm more of a video guy, and I've never thought about it that way. I've always just I look at an image, I look at the composition, I look at the colors, the lensing that was used, and I'm like, oh, that's a really pretty shot. But he was like, it's not about that. It's about looking at an image and imagining the photographer's experience in that moment.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and it seems like that's what
Yeah, and
you're trying to achieve as well.
I think we talked about earlier is I just like telling stories through visuals, whether that's a single image or video. And so through every image I take, it's either a moment that I want to relive by going back to and like, I mean, if you think about it, taking a photo is kind of like time travel.
Yeah.
You can go back to that moment, hopefully try to remember what you were thinking or what your emotions were, and hopefully evoke that same emotion to whoever's seeing it. You know, obviously some people are not inspired by nature. They're more inspired by, you know, a portrait and be like, oh, I wonder what this person's thinking through their eyes. But for me, I like more naturey stuff as far as when it comes to my photography. But for video, it's completely different.
So when a client comes to you and they want to hire you to do some product shots, what's your process? Do you kind of just ask them questions like what, obviously, like, you know, what do you want? But then do you say, hey, I discovered this really cool place in this one location. I want to go there. I think this will be cool.
Yeah, I think it goes both ways. You know, they'll sometimes you'll have a client that has XYZ. You have to have these things in these images. Or they'll be like, well, what do you think? We just like your style, your aesthetic. I think you fit with the brand. What do you think? What do you want to do? And let's talk it out. I'm a big collaborative guy.
What's your favorite one?
Those two
options.
I mean, it's always fun to have free reign.
Yeah.
You know, but obviously you have the guidelines. But yeah, I just love collaborating. So if I'm gonna work on a project, even if you're the director of a big movie, I'm never going to be that guy who's, this is my movie, this is how it goes. I don't care about any input. You know, like I want anybody, obviously with reason, to come up and be like, hey, what do you think about this? At that moment, you have the power whether to say, oh, that's a fantastic idea, let's do it, or hey, not a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of do the same thing with my photos. They'll pitch something, and there's been times where I say that literally doesn't make any sense. Here's why, and yada yada, and then they were like, oh yeah, we didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah.
But I think just being collaborative completely creates the best end result.
When it comes to the specifics of you know, it's all about living in the moment and like experiencing that moment, capturing that moment. But there are cameras involved.
Yeah.
When you're taking pictures, I'm a total gearhead.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit earlier before we were rolling about equipment and your partnership with Samsung and then that whole process. What are you shooting on today, right now? What camera are you actually using?
As far as higher end, I'm shooting on Sony rigs right now with the Sony A7 III or my iPhone.
Nice.
Right? Those are like two opposite sides of the spectrum, but it's true. I went to Colorado just recently and ended up finding that it was just easier to pull out my phone, especially if you're doing wide angles. You know, if you don't need any bokeh or stuff like that, you're just like, okay, I'm taking a picture of this mountain.
Do you take pictures raw with your phone?
Whatever the camera does, I think it does pretty fantastic job.
JPEGs,
yeah, those JPEGs are pretty good. You know, obviously, if you're going with a goal or a mission, you're a little bit more strategic. But if you're going, like we were talking about, just living in the moment, at that point, it's just whatever tool you have on your person.
You've done hired paid jobs with an iPhone?
I actually have. Yeah, I'm trying to think of which ones. But there's been a couple ones where I've shot iPhone just because it worked out. And it's funny because you look at an image, you know, like the one in the Blue Lagoon.
Yeah.
If I didn't say it was iPhone, some people wouldn't even know.
Nope.
And to go further with that, I wanted to prove to myself that it's not about the gear. That I ended up shooting a 1 minute-ish short film all on an iPhone 5 back in the day.
Yep, I saw it on your site.
Yeah, and it ended up winning first place at a contest.
Nice.
And I did it just to prove to myself that I didn't need to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a lot harder.
Yeah.
You know, but you could do it.
Steven Soderbergh just did a entire movie called Unsane, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Whole movie shot on iPhone.
Yeah.
He's used to using Reds and Aries and stuff. And he said after the process in some interviews, like at Sundance, he was like, I'm never shooting on a real camera ever again. I'm always going to shoot on iPhones.
Wow.
Because he was bold. Like, yeah. He's kind of a bold guy.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
he's definitely unique.
If you look up, you know, him as a person, like he actually quit filmmaking a while ago, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. But here's his new movie.
Yeah, it's just a creative, you know, extreme.
100%.
And I think, in a way, like there was this great documentary. Jack White was on it. The Edge from U2, and is it Jimmy Page, the guitar player for Led Zeppelin? Is that his name?
Sure.
I don't remember.
I'll take your word for it.
It's this great documentary with these phenomenal guitar players, Jack White from White Stripes.
Yeah.
And he's kind of known for like using crappy guitars. He would use these guitars made in the 70s that you would buy off of like a Sears catalog. And he was like, I love the process of like having pain through the process of creating something.
That's awesome.
Because like that is true uniqueness, right?
Yeah, it's
like,
art.
Imagine, so like using your phone in a way that those limitations make you more creative.
Yeah. After I stopped working with Samsung, I got a Sony A6300 and shot on that for I think a year and a half only, because I was waiting for the next Sony thing, and I didn't want to buy, the A7S2 when I knew the R3 or the S3 or a 3, whatever 3 is coming out.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm just gonna sit and try to figure it out, and I was still getting work. So I've shot for brands like Target, Nike, and all these other brands, all on an A6300 with the kit lens.
Really?
So, I mean, I could show you that and
amazing.
show you something I shot on the A6 or the A7 III with like the Sigma 35 1.4.
Yeah.
And obviously some projects call for different tools, but the fact that I was able to get by with a lower end camera.
Contentment, man.
Yeah.
That's what you were saying earlier, is like at a certain age you decided, you know what, I'm just going to be content. You haven't even upgraded your phone in a while.
Yeah, I mean, I have the...
You have a 10R, but it's not because you like...
Yeah, I didn't buy... Yeah, I didn't go out and just buy it and wait in line and get it first.
I think that's a good balance. I think a lot of creatives need to get their heads out of the gear.
Yeah,
and
it's not the gear.
Yeah,
it's the story or the content that you're creating.
Yeah, unless you're a YouTuber who reviews gear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can review the same thing over and over again.
Have you always made a living doing photography/video?
From what I can remember, I've always done something along those lines. There's been a few years where I helped my dad appraise homes, but that was, for the money. But during that time, I was still shooting stuff for passion. I think ever since I graduated high school, I was always doing something video or photo related, either for fun or for...
Would you say that you were born entrepreneur?
I'm not sure how you're born, but I think I knew mentally that I didn't want to be the guy who works for somebody else.
Yeah.
If I just like my freedom. I like to control my environment. So I just kind of went that route,
Yeah, totally.
But
yeah, same. I was a magician and then a filmmaker.
What?
So. All right, so I have one final question for you. If you could have a collaboration with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
A collaboration.
So like if
I were to shoot like a music video for an artist or something.
Yeah, I mean, or even like if you want to paint the 16th Chapel with Michelangelo, if you want to do...
Wow, that's...
If you could collaborate or work with somebody, dead or alive.
Dead or alive. Honestly, I don't even know if I want to collaborate. I just kind of want to see Wes Anderson work.
Yeah. Just like be on set.
Just be on set. Just like, I won't even bother you. Like obviously collaborative, you're working together. So I'm taking it a step further. Like I just wanted to like,
sure,
I'll bring you water.
Yeah.
Just because I think he's so unique and one of the most unique filmmakers out there.
I think you would learn so much from just sitting next to
100%.
Yeah, when I was first starting to direct, the way that I learned was just by being on set as a PA and just absorbing, like, how's that director directing?
100%. And I think a lot of people, and it's funny because the topic of aesthetic comes up a lot, and I think it's hard to define your own aesthetic, because to you just do it. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, this looks cool. This is the angle I would choose. And to other people, you're like, wow, why'd you choose that? I would have chosen this. Mm-hmm. Like you're just drawn to something. It's natural for you.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm so fascinated by Wes Anderson, because it's not my...
He has an amazing aesthetic.
Oh man, his aesthetic is... And people who try to imitate it fail, because anybody who tries to imitate somebody else, it just doesn't work. You can borrow and be inspired, but don't copy somebody. Be yourself.
I fall victim of copying Wes Anderson. I made a short film when I was like 19.
that's more of an homage at that point. It's not necessarily copying.
Yeah, I think
you're paying respect,
if you can if you imitate somebody through comedy, you can get away with it.
Oh yeah, it's a parody law.
Yeah.
Like you can't be like, oh, this is Coca-Cola commercial,
Yeah.
You know, but if you're like, oh, it's a Coca-Cola commercial, and just like making it like a spoof version, then you're like,
Now you're
free
brilliant.
reign.
Yeah. You're Weird Al Yankovic.
That's why SNL could get away with so much.
Exactly. A lot of people, when they're first starting out, they do kind of imitate a lot of other artists. And how did you start with that? Were you drawn to certain people, and did you find yourself imitating people?
I think a lot of people especially if you start talking about Instagram, there's a lot of imitation. I know a friend who almost every single image of his is being imitated by another account.
Wow.
100%. Like down to like the van he drives. And he's just baffled on why these people would do it, but they're finding success in it because they're stealing somebody else's. So to me, it's gone beyond like flattery where it's like, oh, this person like looks up to me. Now it's like plagiarism. Yeah. You know, so this person's now getting success from stealing a look or a feel or an edit or composition. A lot, you can like take a little bit, you know, but as far as for me, I don't feel like I'm the person who's stolen ideas. I'm inspired for sure. Yeah. You know, but I think almost everything in today's world is you're being inspired at this point, you know.
What would you have to say to someone who's younger, who doesn't have as much experience, who, you know, may actually be imitating not for any type of, deviant reason. It's just out of, being new. Like, how can they become their own?
Yeah, person? I think the more you shoot, the more you find your voice. You know, you imitate for a little bit, of course, because you look up to certain people. But then after a while, that voice is kind of gone, and maybe that person's left a little bit of imprint from you, but then you're taking an imprint from somebody else. You take two styles, and you now have your own. And I think that's how it kind of like snowballs into a bunch of different people having different styles. But for anybody who's starting out, you gotta shoot until you find what you like, what you don't like, what inspires you, you know.
Did you hang out with other creatives that were better than you when you were starting out, or were you kind of always on your own?
I kind of wish I had more people. Even now, like I wish there's a little bit more of a community for me out here to hang out with people to go shoot and just have fun. It's just awkward because I live an hour away. So if I want to go shoot anything inspiring, I have to drive quite a bit. But growing up, I think it's pretty much just me and my wife. Wow. Just going around just shooting and looking up to other people who, you see so much work on social media that.
Yeah. If you maybe you live in a small town that doesn't, have all these creatives around in LA like we have here, but you can go online and, like you said, kind of do collaborations through the internet.
Yeah. One of my favorite things is whenever I travel, I try to reach out to other creatives who are in that area just to talk. Yeah. And just through conversations, you can be inspired. There's so many ways to be inspired, not just by actually shooting,
Is there value in moving to a city with creatives, do you find, or do you think that that's overrated?
No, I see value in that. Even for me, I don't really love living in California because I do like more mountains and things like that. And those are the things I'm inspired by. I'm not really inspired too much here in California. I'm not like the beachy type, I'll go because it's beautiful, but for some reason I like looking at that more with my eyes than to actually photograph or do video. So I think that the end result for my family is to move, but not within a handful of years because, like I said, I want to direct film and TV, and I have a couple things that hopefully 2019 will look good towards. So I have to be here. And then I think once hopefully I've established myself enough, I can move.
Yeah, move to Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta or Nashville, right?
Yeah, exactly. We'll swap places.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, was there anything else you wanted?
No, I was just saying, I think if you live somewhere where you're completely not inspired, that can be a damper on your creativity. Yeah. I've been through a lull before where for months at a time I've had client work and literally just couldn't for the life of me figure out how to shoot it because I wasn't in an area where I was inspired. You do have to fight through that if that's all you're given, but if you live somewhere where you're inspired, your workflow can just be so much easier.
Totally. Yeah, I think some of the takeaways for anybody who's starting out from my conversation with you is really just go out there and do exactly what you want to do. I think Ira Glass, do you know who he is? He's a podcaster. He has this great saying. He talks about how a lot of artists have great taste, but when they're first starting out, for some reason, they just can't achieve what they have in their head because there's this gap that needs to be filled with tons and tons of work, just a body of work over a period of years, period of time.
For sure.
To get to that point to where your actual skill can line up with your taste.
Yeah. And overnight success is not a thing.
No.
You have to hustle for years, and then all of a sudden it'll feel like overnight success because you finally get that one thing you're hoping for, and that happens overnight. But getting noticed and working at, I mean, even for me, it's taken years for me to get to this point. It didn't just happen, you know?
Yeah. So just stay at it. If you're in an uninspiring place, maybe drive down the street and see if you can find another place.
Yep.
And just enjoy your family. You know, you have a lot of balance with, you know, being a father, a husband, and then obviously, you know, an Instagrammer, an influencer.
Oh, geez.
No, you're not an influencer. That's the biggest takeaway from today. Sam is not an influencer. So, Sam, how can people find you? You're on Instagram as your name, right?
Yeah, literally, and any social media, I'm Sam Ciurdar.
So you're saying nobody had that name already?
There's literally, it's kind of funny. There is one more person named Sam Ciurdar.
Really?
In this, at least in the U.S., and I discovered him, and you know, in junior high, when you Google yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how old I was when I Googled myself. But you're just like, oh, I wonder what happens.
Yeah.
Googled Sam Ciurdar, somebody else came up. Wow. I'm like, what? Who is this guy? Are we related? How many Ciurdars are there? Found out that we're not related. Thanks to social media, I was able to like MySpace him. I think that was the thing.
Yeah.
And no, we're not related. I'm like, cool. But I kind of want to be the more popular Sam Ciurdar here. Like, I want, when you Google my name,
yeah,
I want to be the top one.
Yeah.
So my life achievement has happened.
Yeah, I think I'm
there. I'm there.
You have arrived.
I have arrived. I'm done.
Just retire now.
Yeah, I am going to retire. Yeah. So samciurdar.com, Sam Ciurdar, any social media.
And that is spelled Ciurdar.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks. Well, I had it in front of me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, good job reading.
What an amazing American dream story of Sam Ciurdar, amazing businessman, photographer, filmmaker, who I'm sure has made his parents who immigrated to America super proud. A huge congratulations to Sam and his wife Amanda for their new baby boy who was born recently. When we recorded this podcast, she was still pregnant, and they now have 2 beautiful children. So again, congratulations to you two. I would like to encourage you guys to check out Sam Ciurdar on Instagram. That's spelled SAMCIURDAR. Amazing photographer, amazing filmmaker, and he has a great feed. I have been following him ever since we met, and he posts amazing pictures. If you're a fan of this podcast, then please subscribe and tell a friend about it. It's really the best way to show your support of this show. It's a show. It's like a podcast. It's a show. It's a podcast show. Once again, I'm Dave Mays. This is the Golden Hour Podcast. See you next Tuesday.